So you have asked a question. The question is, what is the meaning of witnessing a thought? Many meditation instructions are told, witness your thought. So I am witnessing is also a thought. So how a thought can witness another thought? This is the question. A thought cannot witness another thought because thought is an object. Every thought is an object, including I thought. I thought is also an object. A object thought cannot observe another object. In that sense, a thought cannot observe anything. But there is a reason for saying witness your thoughts. Because there is a background in all our thoughts which is unchanging. That background is called Atma or the Sakshi, which is unchanging. For example, yesterday you ate a breakfast, idli. Today morning you ate a breakfast called dosa. So then you will come and claim that I only ate idli, I only ate dosa. So now, in your understanding, the I is the body and mind. I am the body, I am the mind, is a thought. It appeared yesterday, then the thought disappears. It's a temporary thought. Again, I ate dosa. Now, is it the same person who is eating yesterday and today? The person which is a body, mind and intellect is a constantly changing entity. So, the same person ate what yesterday and today is a false statement because the same person is not there. The body has changed, mind has changed, intellect has changed. Maybe a little bit or more, but the change is there. So, the same person cannot eat yesterday and today. Because what you call as person is a constantly changing reality. It's constantly changing. That's why there's a saying in spiritual tradition. How many times you can take a bath in a river? You cannot take a bath in a river even once because a river is nothing but flowing water. And once you put your leg is changing, the body is changing, everything is changing. In the changing reality, to say, I take a bath once also is false. In reality, everything is changing, so that's why there is no entity which takes a bath even once in a river. Your body is changing, mind is changing, intellect is changing. So that's why to say that I ate breakfast yesterday and I ate breakfast today is false. To the extent, the I is false. Whatever I is claiming that is false. Why? Because it's referring to a changing entity as unchanging entity. Yesterday I was there, today I was there. So now, is there some reality in that? Yes, there is a reality. There is something unchanging in you. There is some changing in you. The changing part of you is called me, which is body, mind and intellect. The unchanging part of you is the real I, which has never changed. So, for example, when you are born, your body is 2 feet. The body keeps on growing. Now it's 5 feet, 5.5 feet. It becomes fat. It becomes weak. Then it becomes old. Okay? So I was born. I grew up. I was in Bombay. Then when you're referring to a body, but you're referring to something unchanging I. So we are mixing up a changing I and unchanging. Now the unchanging I part has never changed. That's why you are able to say constantly with confidence that same I was present. Whereas the me part, the body, mind, and intellect is constantly changing. So who are you really? Are you the changing part or unchanging part? You are always referring to unchanging part. That's why you're confident. I only went there. I only came here. But you're always confused with the body, mind, and intellect, which is changing part. So this confusion has to be removed. The changing part is called anitya. Unchanging part is called nitya. So the confusion removal is called nitya anitya viveka. The viveka has to be awakened. Where it has to be awakened? In the intellect. For whom it has to be awakened? For the jivatma. Jivatma means the Atma, which is unchanging reality. Jiva, which is a consciousness or Chidabhasa identified with the intellect and the mind. The Chidabhasa, which is reflected in the intellect and identified with the body and mind, called Jiva. In English language, I call it me. The me is constantly changing. Okay? So that me, which is his intellect, forgets that there is something called Atma, which is the background all the time, and confuses the body and mind as me. The real me is nothing but unchanging reality, which is there in the background. Okay? Because an unchanging reality is there, you are the same person. You can refer yourself as I over 30 years or 40 years, because there's unchanging reality which is there in the background. That unchanging reality, I compare it as a screen in the movie. Movies keep on changing, but screen doesn't change. Similarly, your body, mind, intellect, your mind, movies in your mind, the world keeps on changing, but unchanging reality, Atma, is there in the background. So now, who is real I? The real I is Atma. But the problem is, there is a combination of real I and changing I. This combination you cannot separate out. A movie and screen cannot be separated out as long as the screen is, as long as the movie is going on. Only during interval you can see. During interval, the screen you can see. So now, our mind is constantly producing thoughts, continuously. Is there an interval in which I can see the screen? Screen is the Atma. In the waking state, not possible because continuously we are bombarded with thoughts. In the dream state, we are continuously bombarded with thoughts. In deep sleep state, the thoughts are not there, the world is not there. In that sense, the screen is visible fully. Okay? So the screen is called Pratyekatma, or the innermost self, which is also called Sakshi, the witness. So what is the nature of the Pratyekatma or screen in the deep sleep? It is not a doer, not a knower, not an enjoyer. Akarta, Abhokta, and Adnata. Nata means knower. It's not any of these because there's no activity there. Any of the activity is not there for the Pratyekatma. So that's your nature. Now that nature is fully exposed when the movie making machine called mind and body is not there. So now, have you changed in deep sleep and waking state and dream state? No. The Pratyekatma doesn't change. The non-doer, non-enjoyer, and not a knower is in the background of your waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Always. But in the waking state and dream state, the movie of the mind is constantly projecting on the screen. So now, the screen called Satyagathma is not visible in the waking state and dream state. So what is the nature of Satyagathma? It's not a knower, not an enjoyer, not a doer. But its nature is awareness, which is knowing principle. Knowing principle is the illuminator. What does it illuminate? It illuminates thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, and the world. is the Atma Jyoti, the light of the self. So that Atma Jyoti or the light of self is called Sakshi or the witness. It's called Nataka Deepika. There's a teaching called Nataka Deepika in Panchadashi, a text called Panchadashi. Swami Vidyaranya speaks of the Nataka Deepika. A lamp is kept on the stage. Now, earlier days they didn't have bulb or tube light. They keep a big lamp. In front of the lamp, actors will come, act and go. Rama comes, the lamp illuminates Rama. Then Ravana comes, lamp illuminates Ravana. And nobody is there on the stage. The lamp illuminates, nobody is there. So the lamp is called Nataka Deepika. So that is also called Atma Jyoti or the Sakshi. Our Satyagathma is like Sakshi, like that. It will illuminate. The lamp itself doesn't see Rama or Ravana. It just illuminates. In that sense, the Sakshi doesn't see anything. Just Sakshi just illuminates. How does it illuminate? When thoughts come, the Sakshi principle illuminates. I know. For example, an apple in my hand is there. This is apple is a thought. It's an object thought. The Sakshi principle, I know. Please understand this. I know is not a verbalization. It's just illumination. So then, in my hand, banana is there. There's a banana thought. Sakshi principle says, I know. I know is a sentient being. The knowledge and ignorance is a thought. It's in the intellect. The thought in the intellect is illuminated by Sakshi. So I know is a background thought in all the thoughts. The I know is a constant thing. The I know is there even when the thoughts are not there. For example, Nataka Deepika, a lamp on the stage throws the light, even if then the actors are not there. Then you know there are no actors. Similarly, if there is no thoughts, then also is known. So now, how no thought is known? No thought is called abhava vritti. So something is there in my hand. Apple is there in my hand. It's called bhava vritti. There is a thought called apple. So when there is nothing in my hand, it's called abhava vritti. There's nothing. So in deep sleep, there's a abhava vritti. There's nothing. That's eliminated. So I'll give you a abhava vritti, another example. You see an object. Okay. Let's say object is a book on the table. I'll say behind the book what is there? Then you say nothing is there. So nothing is there is a thought. It's called abhava vritti. So when the book is recognized, presence and absence is recognized. The absence is called abhava vritti. A recognition happens. That's why we recognize a space between two objects. Abhava, absence. So now, in the absence, recognition of absence, there's no object. When there's no object, then what is there is only the Sakshi or pure awareness is there. There is no object. When there is any object, then the Sakshi or Atma is covered by object. For example, a movie screen is covered by a movie. So there's an interval in our movie which goes on in our life. The interval is called deep sleep. The deep sleep is a pointer to my real nature. That's called Satyagathma. Now for me, the challenge is to recognize the Satyagathma in the waking state. My nature has not changed. But movie of the mind and body is superimposed on the Satyagathma. So now what I have to do? I have to stop the mind. The forcefully stopping the mind is difficult because mind is a continuously generates thoughts. So now, that's why Ramana Maharshi says, find out who you are. Now, who am I? So I'll say that I am the same person who ate breakfast yesterday, idli. Today I am the same person who ate the breakfast today. So now, I am what you are calling as breakfast, who ate the breakfast, is the body and mind, forgetting the Atma. Okay? So then, what you are calling as I is the false I. It's not real I, because the false I has changed. But there is a reality to a false I. The unchanging reality is there. Background, like a movie screen, behind the background of movie, changing I is a movie. Behind that, Atma or the Sakshi is there, which has a background. So, who is the real I? The Sakshi. Now, Sakshi or Atma, Satyagathma. But the problem here, the Sakshi or Satyagathma doesn't eat breakfast. It doesn't do anything. It's non-doer. It's not enjoyer, not an experiencer. Okay? But it's present in all the experiences. And it's present in all the absence of all experience also. It's a continuous presence. That's why Sakshi or Atma is called presence. So the presence of Satyagathma is present in all the time. But it's covered. But the mind or jiva makes it confused. It confuses. The presence, it confuses the body, personality. So now if I ask jiva to find out who you are, then jiva will understand there is a presence behind me all the time. But then, what is the presence? I don't know. How to recognize the presence? That's why for jiva, actually for jivatma, I'll tell, be a witness of your thoughts, witness of your sensation, witness of the world. Now, witness is an action. Witnessing is an action. Okay? So, Sakshi or Satyagathma can't do witness because it's not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower. But Sakshi or Satyagathma, in association with the Chidabhasa or Jiva, can be witness, can do witnessing. How? Let us understand what happens when we record two events. Okay? So, I ate a breakfast yesterday. The body, mind, and intellect, what is called me, was there in the event. That event got recorded in memory. I ate breakfast. That's event number 1. Then body, mind, intellect changed. Next day, I ate breakfast called dosa. Another event happened. So another record is there in memory. So the memory recording happened, but the personality who recorded has changed. The me has changed. The recording happened in the presence of Atma, which is unchanging. So in that way, unchanging Atma, the presence in which a recording happened, is the real I. So now the real I doesn't do anything. It's not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower. But it's an illuminating principle. That illuminating principle we call as Sakshi, the witness, Nataka Deepika, like Nataka Deepika. Even though the witness just illuminates, this lamp on the stage does not know who is Rama and Ravana. It just illuminates Rama and Ravana on the stage. Similarly, illuminating principle is the I know principle, which eliminates all the thoughts. In that illuminating principle, all recording of the memory happens. It is like saying, in the presence of electricity, the fan will blow air, the bulb will give light. But electricity does not give light, or electricity doesn't blow air. Activity happens in the presence of electricity. Similarly, activity happens in the presence of Sakshi or the Atma. Sakshi itself is not a doer. But the problem for me is that I cannot separate Sakshi when the activity is happening. Activity of the mind and body is happening. Because it's getting superimposed. The movie is getting superimposed on the screen. So, then I'll tell the mind, my dear mind, you are constantly generating thoughts. When you are not generating thoughts, you can recognize your true nature. An interval has to be created in the movie. The mind will come back and say, I don't know how to stop thoughts. Okay? So then I'll point out, what is thought? Thought is nothing but memory of the past or memory of the future. Or not memory, imagination of the future. So memory of the past is taken and is projected in the future. Last year, I made losses in this business. That's the memory. So now, you project in the future. What will happen to me when I make a loss next year? So memory mind is constantly going to the past, bringing memory and projecting the future. So now, and it's and it creates hundreds and thousands of thoughts because worries, anxieties can never ending. Thoughts will continuously increase. That means movie keeps on going. Movie of the mind keeps on going. How to stop the movie of the mind? I have to point out to the person who says I, my dear ego, my dear, the I is called ego or jiva, my dear jiva, the memory of what is recorded, you are using it and thinking of what will happen to you in future. But you are not the same person. What happened 1 year back when you made losses and what you are today is not the same person. The person has changed. The body has changed, the mind has changed, intellect has changed. So, projecting next year into future is meaningless because one who is projecting is not the same guy. You think what will happen to me next year? The next year you will not be there. The body, mind, intellect has changed. So they remain projecting taking from the memory of the past and projecting into future is a illusion. And this illusion is being done by imaginary self who takes the same body, mind, intellect is present in the past, present, and future, which is false. So imaginary entity is creating a big movie, big halla gulla, big tamasha. So now you have to catch this imaginary entity, the thief. So Ramana Maharshi asks, who are you? Who is the being question asked? The thief called mind or jiva. So in reality, jiva is jiva plus atma, jivatma. The atma is unchanging, jiva is changing. The question is not asked to jiva, its question is asked to jivatma, who has forgotten whose nature is atma. Then jivatma comes back and says, I am the unchanging reality. Then if you are unchanging reality, nothing happens, no loss happen to you. Nothing will happen to you in future. Nothing will happen to you. You are the unchanging reality all the time. Then why are you worried about the future? Why are you worried about the past? All your past memories are not you. How? Memory, if you call it as a recording or a movie, one thing is there. In the movie recording, there will be always nobody, the cameraman will not be there. The one who is holding the camera will not be there. The one holding the memory recording is happening in the presence of Sakshi, Atma. Atma will never appear in the memory. What happens in memory is body and mind, which is not Atma, which is object. So a false entity called I, which associated with the body and mind, will keep on creating nuisance. Then one thing we tell that Sakshi entity, who are you? Find out real I, which is not changing. Nothing is happening to real I. So then the mind will calm down. The mind will calm down because the real I has no problem. And the false I has no solution. Because it's a false problem and false solution. The real I has no problem. The false I has no solution. So find out who you are, the real I. For that, one instruction is given, be a witness, the Sakshi. So now, the be a witness really means, remember your nature as a witness, unchanging reality, Atma or Sakshi. So now, if you remember your nature as Atma or Sakshi, then your thought process will calm down. You will not create continuously imagine the thoughts of the future and taking out past thoughts. The past is dead and future is unborn. So we start living in the illusionary reality of the past and future. So the purpose of saying be a witness is to remind you of your true nature as a witness, which doesn't change. It's true that witness thought cannot witness anything because it's a thought. But any witnessing is happening in the presence of the real witness, which is not a thought, which is Atma, which is illumination principle. And how witnessing is happening? Witnessing is happening in the form of event recording in the memory. Between two events, the Sakshi or the Atma has not changed. The witness will never change. So that is real I. So you are remembering your true nature It's not that a witness thought witnesses something. It is a witness thought remembers your true nature, which is unchanging reality, which is a real you. So in that process, the false you stops creating illusions of the past and future. So then there is another thing told. Bring your attention to the body and the breath. Because body and breath are in the present moment. So the mind keeps on generating thoughts about the past and future, which are not real. The present moment of the mind is called body, sensations, feelings. So if you take your attention to sensation and feeling, the mind stays in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future. The past and future are illusionary, but present moment is the appearance of reality. Your reality called Atma or Brahman appears as in the present, as body and the world in the present moment. It is like saying somebody sees a rope and he fears there is a snake. Then you start imagining, oh, snake is poisonous, it will bite me, I'll die. When he realizes a rope, still the snake will be visible. Snake is the appearance of the rope. In that sense, when you bring your attention to the present appearance of body and mind, you are bringing the mind to reality from unreality. Unreality is the present moment. So the body and mind, body and breath is the gateway to the present, is the present moment. And present moment is the gateway to the presence, which is Atma, which is Sakshi. How does it become a presence gateway to the present moment? Presence. So there's always a gap between two thoughts. So there's always a gap between two sensations. Sensation can be two breaths. Between two breaths, there's a gap. Between two heartbeats, there's a gap. Between two sensations, there's a gap. This gap, what is there? Abhava. Nothing is there. So, but nothing is there. Somebody who knows nothing is there. The knowing principle is there. It is like somebody standing in a room, a dark room. I ask him, who is there in the room? He says, nobody is there. Nobody is there is a false statement because the one who says nobody is there is there. Similarly, one who says nothing is there is there. That's called Sakshi or Atma, illuminating principle. So that Sakshi is evident in the gaps between two thoughts, in the gaps between two sensations. So now, the gaps between two thoughts and two sensations can be a natural or it can be created forcefully. You can do a forceful kriya, a breathing practice or visualization and then create a gap. That gap is called paravastha. In that gap, nothing is there. So now who is Atma? The Atma or Sakshi, one who is present in the thoughts and sensation and one who is present in the gap. So both are required. Atma is present in both. But it's difficult to recognize Atma in the presence of thought or sensation because it's covered. It is superimposed. It's easier to recognize the Atma in the gap. So now we have to understand I am present in the sensation and I am present in the thoughts and feelings and sensation and I am present in the absence of thoughts, feeling and sensation. So I am the presence in both. So this presence is called Atma or Sakshi and this presence in Vedantic language is called Anvaya and Vetireka. Anvaya means something which is present in the thoughts, feelings, sensation and experience of the world. Vetireka means something which is present in the absence of thoughts, feelings and experience of the world. In both the cases, it's present. It's like saying the screen is present when the movie is there, but it's not visible. The screen is present when the movie is not there, interval, but screen is always there. So we have to recognize the screen or Atma in the presence and absence. So when I say witness your thought or witness your emotion or witness your sensations, I'm pointing out there's a gap between these sensations, there's a gap between thoughts. In that gap also you are there. Recognize that your true nature. So you'll say, nothing is there. Nothing is there is illuminated by something, somebody. That is real presence. That's you. That's called Atma. So this recognition of I am the presence in the gap between thoughts, gap between sensations, or presence in the presence of thoughts or sensations, Anmaya Vyatireka, in the both the cases. I am the real I, which is unchanging I, like a movie screen present in all the movies. That is the real I. So the real I is not a thought. Real I is not a thought. Real I is the real witness. In the presence of witness only, your thoughts are getting recorded. So that way, when I say witness your thoughts, I'm pointing you to your real nature, which is unchanging reality. So you have to become aware that I am the awareness which is present in all the thoughts, feelings and emotions, and in the absence of all the feelings and emotions. So now by this being aware of your own nature, being aware that I am aware, what will happen? Your thought chain gets broken. Continuous thought chains gets broken because thought chain is happening because of the false identity called me. So the false identity is exposed. Then it cannot create further thoughts because I have not changed. What happened to future me in the future? Nothing will happen because Atma has not changed. So the mind will become more silent. So there's a deeper peace experienced. Now is this peace Atma? No. Peace also is not Atma. Peace is a reflection of Atma in the mind which has become silent. From the reflection you have to find out the original. Original Atma is the infinite. My nature is peace. My nature is silence. That is getting reflected in the mind when the mind is silent. So from reflection you have to see the original face. From the reflection in the mirror you have to always see the original. In that sense, I recognize my true nature of peace, silence, infinity. And this recognition is called aparoksha jnana. I have recognized my true nature. It's a clarity. And where is the clarity coming? It is a clarity coming in the intellect. Jiva has the clarity. So now the intellectual clarity will help you to stop the further thought process of false thought process, which is taking pseudo identity called me and taking it real. You cannot, no longer the thief can lie. The thief is caught. So that will stop the further thought process. So when the further thought process are stopped, the mind will remain calm. The movie on the screen is stopped. When the movie on the screen is stopped, what remains is there pure awareness, Atma, and that experience is called aparoksha anubhuti. So aparoksha jnana and aparoksha anubhuti I have explained. And non-dual experience is called aparoksha anubhuti, where self experiences itself. And this has to happen in the waking state, because in deep sleep, self experience itself is sleep only. That's what we call as bliss of sleep. But in the waking state, it has to happen because waking state, mind is creating a movie. The mind which is creating a movie has to be stopped. For that, a Sakshi or witness is told. So now, the witness or Sakshi or witness is a prakriya, a process. There is a witness as long as thoughts are considered as real. A real event is experienced or observed by a real witness. But when we understand thoughts are unreal, mithya, because thoughts are constantly changing, thoughts are nothing but consciousness itself is appearing and disappearing. Like water appears as wave and ocean. Water appears as wave. But reality, water and be is there. Then the Sakshi or Saksham duality will stop. There's no duality there now. Sakshi and Saksham, witness and witnessed. There's no duality. Then there's only pure light. Atma Jyoti. Light of the self, awareness only. There's no subject-object duality. So then what is there is non-dual Brahman. There's no longer called a Sakshi. Sakshi is real as long as thought is real. When thoughts are mithya, the witnessing is also not there. Then what is there is the witness itself is Brahman. When the subject-object duality, Sakshi, Saksham duality is not there, then there's no longer Sakshi. What is there is Brahman. So now the Sakshi Prakriya is a Prakriya. What is the purpose of this Prakriya? Is to stop continuous thought chain in the mind. When the continuous thought chain is mind, momentary gaps are there. The gaps are helping you to recognize your true nature. The more you recognize your true nature, the more peace is there in your life. The more peace is there, the peace becomes natural. And then you recognize that peace itself as my real nature. I don't have to get peace. I am of the nature of peace. I am of the nature of bliss, ananda, infinite. So this is called realization. This is called Sakshi Prakriya. Have I answered all the question? Is there any question?
No, Guruji.
Okay, we can stop this recording.